I joke that if you set the bar low enough, eventually you'll beat them. But walk us through sort of, I believe, what had been sort of 3 times of cutting that guidance. And then today it does really feel better than expectations.
No, it's very true. I mean, and you make a good point about the bar being low enough, you're bound to jump over it pretty well. But with Walmart, what we've seen is that the consumer has really pivoted very quickly, all through the first quarter and into the second quarter. And, right now, what we're seeing is that in the last month or so, those gas prices that you were talking about in the earlier segment have started to come down. We're starting to see some stability in food inflation in certain categories, and that makes the consumer a little bit more optimistic. And so it is possible that the consumer really responded in the last couple of weeks, which helped bolster Walmart's earnings at the end of the quarter.
Talk to us about challenges that might still exist. What does the supply chain look like? What does inventory look like from your perspective?
Yeah, those are still challenges that Walmart is dealing with. And inventory has been a big keyword and a big hot topic for retail across the spectrum coming out of first quarter and into second quarter. Walmart said that they're managing through their inventory, that they're making some progress, but they still are overstocked in certain categories, especially things like home, electronics, apparel. They've made progress in getting rid of their seasonal stuff, but as we move into third quarter, there is still some risk of higher promotions and markdowns. It should be a little less than in second quarter, but it is something that will persist across the retail sector for at least a quarter to come.
And what does that say about the state of the consumer? How much are those markdowns necessary to bring those consumers back into the stores and back buying online? Is there a sense that for the rest of the year, there is going to be more pressure on a broader set of consumers?
Well, part of the issue is that there was just too much inventory and that the retailers, if they were going to clear it, had to bring it down. And because the consumer was struggling, they had to bring it down even further than they normally would. And so we saw this kind of race almost to the bottom in terms of promotions. But when you're in a recessionary type environment, promotions are a critical playbook that these retailers follow. And so we are expecting to see promotions stay fairly robust through the end of the year. And it is something that helps bring consumers into the stores and keeps them shopping. With regards to online, one of the benefits that Walmart has as a big box retailer and the fact that they sell so much food is that when people are really in a pinch, online can actually be a way to budget. You can go on and you can purchase things and stay within a budget pretty easily because you can see your cart as you add things to it. So that may actually turn out to be an advantage for Walmart that could help propel their online sales as we get through the back to school season and headed into the holiday season as well.
How does this sort of generally set us up for the rest of the week? Kohl's, Ross, BJ Wholesale's, Tapestry, Estee Lauder, sort of another range of low end versus more higher end?
What we've seen so far is that the lower end and middle lower end consumer are the ones who've been under the most pressure. Households that have, are in the middle or slightly higher end have been performing a little bit better. They're not really showing the signs of abating in terms of their spending. When you're talking about companies like TJX, that appeal for the treasure hunt still exists, and people love a discount. And even if they're not in a real pinch in terms of their own spending, they still love a discount and they still love to find a bargain. So when you're talking about those kinds of retailers, when we look out towards this quarter and into the next quarter, it is a type of environment in which they normally thrive.